What's up, Guava Bees? Welcome to another episode of the Dear Guava Bean podcast. In this guest episode, I'm talking with Nicole, who is a very good friend and co-worker of mine. She is also a very talented copywriter and brand designer, as well as a graphic designer. She's just overall super talented and a wonderful person to work with. It was such a pleasure for me to have her on this podcast and to talk with her because I think she shares so many things that we all go through, but sometimes it's difficult to talk about. For example, we discuss imposter syndrome, overwhelm, how to package your rates, how to not undervalue your services, how to set boundaries and work with clients in a productive way. And then we also talk a little bit about the effects of coronavirus at the time that we're recording this. We are just getting out of a very busy week. So we touch a little bit on that. But if you want to hear the full length episode, remember to join us inside the Freelancer Sandbox. If you're already a member, you get all those podcast episodes for free. You'll hear the uncut full length version. And if you're not a member yet, click the button or go to guavabean.com and start your free trial. You'll get 1 month completely free, and you can check out all the resources, the trainings, the online courses, everything that's available inside the Freelancer Sandbox. To connect more with Nicole or to see the resources and links that she mentions in this episode, visit our website and you'll see the show notes where we'll link to everything that she mentions and Nicole's website where she will be showing her online course very soon. So without further ado, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Hey, Nicole. Thanks for joining the podcast.
Hi, Claire. Thanks for having me.
How are you?
I'm good. It's always interesting when I talk to you because it's like we're on two different sides of the universe. So it's like 10 here. What is it, like in the morning for you?
It's pretty much the opposite. It's 9 a.m. for me.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for doing that.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So let me start at like the very beginning. Just tell me, what do you do for freelance work?
What do I do for freelance work? That's a funny question because it's taken me a really long time to define that. I am kind of like one of those generalists where I'll learn it and I'll do it and I'll find it and I'll figure it out. And I got a degree in English literature because I had no idea what I wanted to actually be. And so I was thrown into the fire with like nonprofit work. I went into corporate. I did a little bit of that, but I ended up coming out a copywriter and a designer and brand message strategist.
Copywriter, designer, and brand message strategist.
Yes. So basically, I teach people how to tell the story that leads to the sale, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Visually, through different media.
Awesome. Yeah. Have you heard the term multi-potentialite?
No, I don't think I have.
Or multi-passionate?
Multi-passionate, yeah.
Marie Forleo uses the term multi-passionate, and I've heard other people say like multi-potentialite. I just say multi-talented. That sounds like what you are.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. We're just kind of a little indecisive.
How long have you been working online?
Oh, online? I've been doing this about 5 years full time. I've been, before that I was, brick and mortar, total old school. I'm 41, so I like kind of was in that age bracket where I got the good old school brick and mortar kind of stuff and then moved on to the online scene after, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, of course. I think we all, or most of us, started out in just like a regular 9 to 5 and then made that transition. But what did you do before you worked online?
A little bit of everything. Like I said, I was a server for a really, really long time. And while I was doing that, that was probably where I made most of my money during that during my kind of career finding time. And while I did that, I worked in nonprofit. I worked for a contemporary art space called Spaces Gallery. It was a really cool spot in Cleveland, Ohio. It has international recognition. And it's one of those places where they don't sell art that goes on the walls necessarily. Like an example would be, we had an artist that did this huge, like room-sized sculpture of a word called the word capitalism. And it had a buzzer for yes and a buzzer for no. and they put it in the middle of the city, and they determined, and everybody could just, it was kind of like an interactive art piece, that kind of thing. So that was the kind of work that we did. And so I was the copywriter and designer, really didn't know what I was. I was the intern that went in, and they were like, we need a website update. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what Dreamweaver is, but I will figure this out. And it was literally updating HTML pages like one at a time, and piecemealing together the nav bar on each page, the craziness. So that was how I learned design. And then for copy, I had an English lit degree, so I was pretty good at writing. Had no idea how I was going to do. I wasn't a creative writer. I mean, I was creative. I could always write, but I wasn't necessarily someone who was like, I'm going to write poetry, or, I like to write for other people, that kind of thing. So I kind of fell into it, and I did that with nonprofit. I was beat down, torn up. It was, hell of a job. And I made very little money, but I learned probably the most from that job, I think. And then I moved into corporate, where the same thing happened, but I made a little bit more money. and I just, I worked in, it was a wellness, and what was it? It was a wellness company that worked with other businesses, giving that, it was a great thing. They gave like energy work, different kinds of acupuncture to the workforce, as though it was like insurance benefits. So it was a special company that did very innovative stuff at the time, which was 5 years ago. Telemedicine, which is like now is like such a hot word with what's going on right now in the world. So I worked in a really interesting environment in corporate, and I was the marketing director there. And when I say marketing director, I worked with a lot of salespeople, which was a new experience for me altogether. And I also did the creative, like, they said, here, make this pretty, or, like, we've got this proposal, like, let's, we're submitting this proposal. We need this to be this, this, and this. So that was my job for a while. And I am the type of girl that I realized one day when I was do you remember planks or planking?
Planks? Oh my God, yeah, the challenge where everyone would just like plank it for photos. I had a friend who was so into that.
Yeah, it was, pretty lame, but I was into it, and I just remember planking on one of my coworkers' desks and being like, and like getting a look like, this is not for me. I'm like a caged animal in this place, and it was just because I'm not good. If someone tells me like I'm okay with deadlines. I like structure, but if someone tells me like you have to be here from 9 to 5 and you cannot leave these facilities from, you know what I'm saying? Like I get like a caged animal. So that was when I was like, I gotta figure out how I can do this for myself. And I work hard. I mean, I've worked with you, and I work pretty hard. And so I felt like, if I'm gonna work this hard, I want to do it for myself. So now I work hard. I'm underpaid and kind of crazy, but I do it for myself. Total joke. Total joke.
But also the truth, because you do. I know how it feels. I know that caged animal feeling, like just being stuck at work, or for me, it was being like told what to do every day. I hate being told what to do. I have a problem with authority and people telling me how to do my job, especially if they don't know how. Like, I trust people who know how to do my job, but I don't like working for managers who've never done anything close to what I do and don't know how to do it, and they try to tell me what to do. I'm like, ah.
Right. Right. I'm the same.
So that was the push that I needed to get out. But what was like, how did you get your first freelance job and make that transition?
I had an angel come into my life. Tara Zerker is an amazing person that you know. She's a multi-talented person, speaking multi-passionate person. I worked in my IT guy. I got along with the IT guy at my old job. They always call me the kind of she's the artsy one. She's the creative one, So it was almost like a little zoo animal in the corner office. And I did get along really well. That makes me sound like I was so antisocial. I totally wasn't. People liked me. People liked me. I got along really well with the IT guy, and his wife was working for Tara at the time, and she started giving me some design work on the side, and then a little bit of writing work on the side. And then I met Tara, and it was like, I can do this full time. I'll make this work because this is freedom. It was scary and terrifying and everything, all of the above that everybody listening knows, but that's where that started.
Have you like bounced around with other clients and done other work since then, or has it been like pretty much with Tara?
I've been really consistent with Tara. There was a period of time where we kind of did a little bit of our own things, but we ultimately came back together. So I've been doing a lot of different. I am, and I think a lot of people can probably relate to this. I'm a project oriented person. I'm very motivated by projects, start, finish, and end date kind of thing. And so I can't, that's part of why I didn't do so good in the regular 9 to 5 job structure. Um, and I've pivoted my career so many different times. So Tara was a consistent, but I also, in the interim, did take on some private clients of my own. And then I am in a revenue share with a social influencer as well. I developed a relationship that came from Tara actually originally, and I work with her. And I have some of my own private clients, like I mentioned. So I've kind of diversified my portfolio, you could say, in terms of the client base that I have.
Yeah, it sounds like you work with quite a few people. Are you also doing your own thing on the side? I know that you are developing a copywriting course. Tell me a little about that.
Yeah, that's funny that you bring that up, and it's funny that I don't even mention it. Yeah, it is something that I'm doing right now. For the first 5 years of my business, I've been really, really happy being the worker behind the scenes, the grunt, the hero, all the things behind the scenes and not stepping out. It's always been such a terrifying thing to me, but this past year, I decided that I was going to reinvest in my business, and I wasn't exactly sure what that looked like right away. The biggest thing that I did in the past year was join. So I took some courses and I joined some masterminds. Probably one too many masterminds because I was like, "You mean people can help me? I'm not alone in this." It was like a candy store once I decided that I was going to do that. So I did that, and I just strayed totally away from your question. What was the original question, Claire? I'm so sorry.
I think I asked, no, I was asking about your course.
Oh yeah, the course. So anyway, I totally digressed on that one.
No, no, you were telling me about the masterminds and how they're helping you put together your own course now.
Yeah, so it basically kind of put me in this position of, okay, maybe I do have something to say. Maybe and I started teaching through Successful Ads Club, which is, I'm name dropping here, but Successful Ads Club is an amazing company that we work with. I started coaching through that, and I fell in love with teaching and coaching. I am the type of person, if you give me some words, I'll make you a document. You give me, I will design something out. I'm behind the scenes. But it was really, really interesting to come out from behind the scenes and actually help other people get to where they wanted to go, and that felt really, really good. And so that was something that I'm chasing the dragon here. It's like I'm not, so I'm pursuing that more on my own independently as well, and working with clients that way, just through more teaching and coaching.
Yeah, I know what you mean about that feeling. It's a nice feeling to help other people, to see how appreciative they are, to see the progress that they can make with just like a few tweaks in their business. You can help them so much, and they're so grateful. Like you said, sometimes it feels like there aren't other people out there. And so to find other people who can help you and you're like, I'm not alone, it's such a nice feeling. And to be the person who's there to support other people is a great feeling too. I love coaching and consulting and teaching as well. I think it's such a nice thing to do. And you're such a great copywriter. It's time that you teach what you know.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, yeah. No, I think once I took the masterminds, I was opened up to this concept of a sounding board of, I think there's this thing where you feel a little bit like you're fending for yourself out there when you first start out, like everybody's your competition a little bit. I don't know if you can relate to that. And finally, when I just opened up and said, okay, I need help, and I found these mentors, it was just an amazing eye-opening experience. And then it really just made me believe even more so that this is what I wanted to do for other people, because it really feels good to create I love the idea of creating little micro economies, like just and in these masterminds, these kinds of course situations, you just meet so many new people. I've met so many copywriters in the last year that have like blown my mind. And I will say that I deal with imposter syndrome sometimes. That's certainly one of the ramifications of it. At the same time, it's like it's just it's amazing what kind of work comes out of meeting other brilliant minds.
Yeah, community is so important whenever you're trying to get somewhere or do something. You need to surround yourself with people who are doing the same thing, even if they're not trying to do the same thing, at least they're working on their goals, they're pushing themselves, they're holding themselves accountable, and just being around those kind of people is so valuable.
For sure, especially right now,
Community is everything, I believe. But tell me, what does your course teach people how to do? Is it like copywriting and design, or is it very specific on copywriting?
Well, it's a little bit of both. It's really actually about brand messaging. So it's a little bit of deep dive into who's your brand, who is your brand, who do you speak to, and it's getting to the core of, what makes you tick. And it's kind of a fun process to doing it, a method that I've kind of developed over the years in terms of how I've worked with my clients to mine for good details and get all the juicy bits and parts of the brand out. So it's that, but it's also some copywriting, conversion copywriting, and content writing styles that you can adapt for. It's basically how to show up. It teaches you how to tell the story that leads to the sale. I said that earlier, and that's basically what it is. It's the journey, the customer journey that you put out for your potential clients, and how they experience your brand and what they think of you and how you interact with them. And it's just you come out at the end of the course, I should say, at the end of the 8-week course, you come out with a dossier that has all of your brand information, your brand voice, the messaging. You've got a bank of, I call it a brand bank of content. And we work through, we coach through different email sequences, different content pieces, and I'm a sounding board for those 8 weeks. So that was kind of a summary of what it is.
I love that. So it sounds like it's made for companies or for people who want to start their own company. They take the course, they go through it, and they learn how to tell their story through copywriting.
Yes, they learn, and some design too. So there's some stuff that, there's some writing exercises for headlines, for formulas, that kind of stuff to get you through the easy stuff. There's some design formulas, that kind of thing. And then there's some deeper dig we do with the branding.
I
Yeah.
love that. Okay. I always want to ask freelancers about their courses because I talk about this a lot, but I think freelancers make the best online courses when it comes to teaching a skill or teaching other people how to do what they do. And so whenever a freelancer has a course, I'm always like, tell me about it, because I know it's going to be good.
Yeah, it's going to be good. It's definitely for creative entrepreneurs, people who are, see themselves as creatives, and actually people who don't necessarily see them as creative. I think there's probably people out there who are a lot more creative than they give themselves credit for. So this is kind of one of those classes that will kind of crack open the surface so that you can get to the good stuff. And so so I'll keep you posted on that. That's coming soon.
Awesome. Do you have a date in mind? I know it's always stressful to put like a deadline on your projects and stuff, but when do you think the course will be ready?
I'm launching in May. So I will start having everything kind of ready to do my marketing and my entrepreneurial push. I will start everything pretty soon here, but May is when I'm going to be launching the course. So that's exciting. It's called the Fully Booked Brand, by the way.
That's a great name.
Thanks. Yeah. So it's basically just to kind of get people to where they need to go to get those clients and really and love what they do.
That's great. That's such a good skill to teach people. If you can teach people how to get clients and how to communicate, oh my God, that's so powerful. So I know that you work a lot in copywriting. You said you're like in a lot of masterminds with a lot of other copywriters. It's such a, I don't want to say saturated, but it's a very common field for online work. And I imagine there's a lot of competition. It's something that I don't really deal with because I do Facebook ads. There's not a lot of people who are very experienced in Facebook ads. So I don't meet a lot of other people that can do what I do, but you must deal with a lot of imposter syndrome or a lot of competition. How do you handle that like imposter syndrome feeling?
Yeah, I think that's probably one of my biggest struggles. Confidence has always been an issue. It's just like one of those themes. Imposter syndrome really set in when I was doing the masterminds, which was, it's a catch 22. But I've actually been very vocal about it with my people, the people in the mastermind. It's like, listen, you're awesome. And it's really pissing me off. This is so I think remembering to reach out and communicate with the people that you think are so high above you, like talk to those people because they're probably feeling just what you're feeling. And even if they're beyond that and they're like beyond the imposter syndrome, like what do you have to lose? Like everybody, I don't want to say it, but like everybody goes to the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I have to remind myself. Like, everybody uses the restroom and has to excuse themselves. Like, we're all people, and some people are, just more out there. So I think I think that's probably what my best advice would be if anyone was dealing with it. I think that it's just one of those things where you have to just keep showing up because it's the people that show up whether that are going to be the most successful. Yes, it's a saturated market, but if you show up, especially now, then you're going to make a difference.
That is so true. That is so true. I need that on a t-shirt. Everybody goes to the bathroom.
There's an easier way of saying it, but I hate the word, and I am like I have a curse mouth. I'm a cusser, but like I don't want to say it. So it's a book. It's a kid's book.
No, but you can curse. It's fine.
It's everybody poops.
Oh, that's not a bad word.
I know, I hate the word. It's like some people don't like the word moist. I don't know why. It's just a weird word. Poop is like my word.
That is so funny. But you're right about showing up. I agree that, I think everybody feels imposter syndrome, whether they admit it or not. It's the people that feel it and still show up are the ones that are gonna be successful and who are eventually gonna become so used to feeling that feeling that it just doesn't become a thing for them anymore. Like, you kinda just get used to it, you train yourself not to think about it, you focus on your work, and over time, it goes away. It's like that little naggy voice. Eventually, your results start to build up, your referrals start to come in, people say great things about your work, and then eventually you're like, "Oh, I'm actually not that bad at this."
Yes, yes, yes. And if you show up, you're putting yourself in context with other people who you admire, which is good for you and it's good for your audience too.
Yes, that's important. If you're around other people who are good at what they do, they're gonna lift you up. You'll naturally get better by just exposing yourself to those people, even if it is uncomfortable and you compare and you feel like you're not as good. Just being around them, if you can look at it in a positive way, can have such a good impact on your career and your skills.
Yeah, absolutely. I did have a mentor tell me that I need to, because I'm so immersed in the copywriter culture and design culture too, that I need to step out into other, make relationships with people from other fields too. I think that that's important. I think we can bring so much more to what we do as professionals, whether we're copywriters, designers, if we know a little bit about construction or you know what I'm saying, like you need to know it helps you define your niche better, it helps you be more interesting, all those things when you kind of branch out and try to get to know professionals in other fields too. I think we could be a little insular in this online world that we live in. It's so funny and ironic because it's so widespread, but we live in this little bubble. So I think that would be the other thing with imposter syndrome, to step outside of that would be to step outside of your field a little bit and socialize with people who you're going to be able to teach, and help in a different kind of way.
Yeah, that is a very good point. Helping other people is one way to definitely get over that imposter syndrome. Once you help other people and you see how much of a difference your help has made to them, and that's confirmation right there.
Right. Just know your value.
Do you have any like go-to experts? I know you mentioned you have a mentor, but are there people that you regularly follow and you buy their courses and their books?
Yeah. Yeah. I am obsessed with Erica Learmark. She wrote How to Think Like a Stripper, and she has the most amazing story. She was a stripper, and she did I don't remember how long she did that. I think it might be like 9 years she was a stripper. And she went to school for like women's studies. She was kind of a powerhouse feminist, and then went into stripping, I think probably as part of that journey. And then went into commercial real estate and made lots of money, and now she coaches women. And it's just this she just the beautiful thing about Erica is everything she talks about is something that she's lived in her life, from some kind of experience in her life. And it's all about packaging yourself, it's all about marketing, it's all about and that sounds so yucky and dirty, but one of the quotes that she gave is, marketing is creativity in motion. And so she embodies kind of this really amazing businesswoman that I strive to be. So I'm like talking about her like glowing, because she's amazing. So her name's Erica Learmark, and I absolutely tell her I said hi if you end up checking her out. um, she's one of my mentors that has really been really, really impactful for me, because she's a good listener, and she just has lots of ideas. And she's tough. She tells you like it is. So that's probably one of the biggest. And then I'm working with, if for the copywriters out there, I'm working with two amazing copywriters right now, Tarzan K and Sage Polaris. That is mainly copywriters too. So yeah, those would be the big mentors out there. And Tara Zerker, of course, I mentioned her earlier. She's been a mentor of mine for quite some time now, and has definitely influenced me in so many different ways from the marketing standpoint.
Yeah, that's true. How do you promote your services and find new clients?
I've been really lucky with the word of mouth, for sure. With having worked with an agency, I had a consistent flow. With the marketing and advertising agency, I had a consistent flow of work. But I really most recently started getting the most clients by getting on Instagram. And I'm still, it's funny because I teach brands how to do their messaging, and you give me a brand, I can write it for you. But when you're doing your own, it's a totally different animal. So right now I'm developing my content for Instagram, but I've just been showing up just that much more, just a little bit. And I've had people reach out left and right, like, are you still doing this? Are you still, people from my past, new people. So showing up has been the big thing on Instagram. And then I hosted a couple of workshops too, which was good.
What do you post on Instagram when you post stuff?
Right now it's a little bit more of my personal sense of humor, a little bit more of me. I don't want to be preachy or teachy. I love teaching. I don't want to be preachy or teachy. I don't want to be like, I'm just going to be this fire hose of information and just tell you what to do and how to write and how to feel about writing and all these things. So I'm really kind of grappling with that right now. And so at this point, it's what's fun and entertaining. Like, hey, I'm here. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's because I think if I were to wait for something like super amazing and become super prolific, I'll be waiting all day, all year. I'll be waiting forever, because I'm so, as a copywriter, I'm just an analytical thinker, and as a creative, I'm crazy. So I also have been reaching out. Like, I think the most important thing that I didn't realize before is that you actually have to market yourself. It was something where I was always blessed to have the work coming to me. So now it's a matter of making it part of my business practice to say, all right, well, where do I need to fill in my holes? Where do I need the work? And reaching out where I think I could be of service to people. If I feel like, okay, I have the space for this, and I know that something's come. I work particularly with medical spas in what is one of my niches. And so I know that this is a good time to be doing a cool sculpting promotion. And so I would say, we could do a quick strategy call, and then I would propose a project with them. And that's been working pretty well too. You just have to be consistent and stay in front of people and be thoughtful about how you can serve them.
Hey, guava beans, want to listen to the rest of this episode? Come join us inside the Freelancer Sandbox. We're offering a Corona special plan where you can join now and get free access until the end of May. You'll get podcast episodes like this and other upcoming guest episodes in the full uncut version. There's another 30 minutes to this episode, so you'll get the full 60-minute episodes only inside the Freelancer Sandbox. Because we know the importance of community at this time, we're opening a private network to everybody. So if you've wanted to see inside the sandbox, if you want to listen to the rest of this episode, if you want to get our support and our trainings and all our best resources, click the button or the link, or just email us at hello@guavabean.com and we'll send you the link to join the Corona special plan. You will not have to pay anything to join this plan. You will not even need to put in a credit card. And we're even removing the automatic subscription to monthly membership. So when the plan ends in May, you don't have to worry about being automatically subscribed to something you didn't ask for. So come join us now, listen to the rest of this episode, and you'll get access to all upcoming future episodes until the end of May 2020. Stay safe, stay healthy, and take care of each other. Bye for now.